So I wasn't going to film today, but something's just happened to me on the eBay platform and I actually can't believe it. I can't believe what has just happened. Like, I'm actually angry, I'm peeved, and I feel really let down by eBay, by the situation that I've just been in. So let me tell you the story. Okay, so a couple of days ago, I got a neutral feedback, and the neutral feedback said the book is okay, that is clear print, there's no torn or sticky pages, but it did not mention water damage to pages at rear bottom corner area. So I read that feedback and I was like, what? I didn't see any water damage. So I went back through, looked at the photos, couldn't see any water damage. The book looked to be in excellent condition from all the photos I take. So this is the exact message that I sent my buyer. Hello, I have received your feedback and I'm so sorry to see this. I apologize if a flaw has been missed in the book. I do my best to check every book carefully and list with any marks. I offer free returns, so you are welcome to send the book back to us for a full refund. So I went to eBay chat to talk to them about getting this feedback removed because the photos didn't represent what the feedback was, and the buyer hadn't replied to me, so I had no proof of any photos or anything like this. So I sent them a message saying I've contacted the buyer to let them know we happily refund if they're not happy in any way, but I've had no response. My concern is that the book photos do not represent what the buyer has said. I'm careful to check all my books before selling them as I take this business very seriously. I don't want to mislead buyers in any way and I only want positive experiences. eBay came back to me and they said, thank you for summarizing your concern, and I acknowledge the fact that you're putting in your honest efforts in this order to comply with the eBay policies and you're doing your best to provide best service. I checked the details and can see that your buyer has only recently left the feedback 2 days ago, and I appreciate that you have communicated with the buyer. I recommend for you to wait for their response. Meanwhile, I would suggest to leave a polite reply on the feedback to share the efforts which you are taking to resolve this. I understand the buyer is not responsive as of now. Once they respond and the issue is resolved, you can send them a feedback revision request so they can revise the feedback to a positive one. So I said, okay, I'll wait another day until the buyer has contacted me. So the buyer didn't contact me. So this morning, it's been, I think this is day 3, I got back on the chat to see if I could talk to them about this neutral feedback again. Now just wait for today's chat. I can't believe this. I've reached out to the buyer and offered a full refund and they have not replied to me, and it's been a couple of days now. The photos of the book do not represent what the customer is claiming and the buyer does not seem to want to reply to me. I'm very careful listing the books and disclosing if there are any flaws. I can't see any from the photos and the buyer hasn't returned my messages. And he says, I do agree with your points and I have reviewed your concern over my tools. I could see that the previous teammate have shared the resolution according to the eBay policy as buyer has dropped the genuine experience. However, they also assured that the neutral feedback won't affect your score. However, if you would like me to connect you to a department again to appeal it, then I will. And I said, yes, please. So then it comes back to the next guy. And this is what he says. Thank you for waiting patiently. I've checked all the required details and let me share eBay's main intent is to keep the feedback system as open and as honest as possible. And we only remove feedback in a few very limited cases. I have reviewed your case and on this occasion I'm afraid to share that the feedback is not removable and it is not violating any of our feedback policies and is truly based on the buyer's experience. I suggest you kindly communicate with the buyer and send them a feedback revision request to revise the feedback into a positive for you as they have no issues with the items now. And I said, but they haven't replied. And he said, I can see they have sent you a message on the 24th of May, Melissa. And I said, oh, let me see, because I haven't seen a message come through. He says, sure, take your time. And then I wrote, I can't see it. And he said, they have sent the below message on the 24th of May, Melissa. So now you can reply to them accordingly and send them a feedback revision request if they agree. So he's copy and pasted a message from the buyer that says, hi, Melissa. The water damage affects the last 30 odd pages on a corner, basically a triangle size of about 4 by 4 centimeters at largest with slight water stain. As stated, it's okay for me. I'm using this on the swim deck as a copy and I've bought a new one since. I was not going to do anything about it, but eBay have been repeatedly pushed me with emails to give feedback from Peter. So I replied to this eBay lady, I can't see this in my inbox, which is strange. Then the eBay replies, Yes, this is because the message was blocked by eBay. If members send any message that violates our policies, the messages get blocked automatically. I said, why was this message blocked? Because they blamed eBay for pushing them? This is unfair on me because now I look rude for not replying to the buyer to resolve the issue as I never saw their message. eBay have come back. Melissa, I've had a discussion with my lead regarding this feedback and I have great news for you. I'm glad to share that I have removed this neutral feedback for you on this account. They tell me to resolve the issue with my buyer, to message the buyer, then come at me and say the buyer's messaged you, but I haven't been able to see the buyer's message because the buyer's opinion, the buyer's experience on eBay was negative. The buyer felt like eBay harassed them into leaving feedback. Basically said eBay pushed them to leave this feedback with repeatedly sending them reminders to send feedback. So the buyer's experience of eBay was negative and it almost got taken out on me because they were going to let it go. They were happy enough with it. I would have happily fixed that situation. If there was a flaw that I missed, I would have fixed that, refunded it, whatever it is. I would have fixed that situation. In fact, I'm going to go in there and refund this buyer ASAP anyway. The fact is, eBay didn't like the buyer's opinion of them. So it's okay for eBay not to listen to us as sellers when we feel like the buyer's opinion is unfair. And in this case, maybe I got it wrong and that's fine. I'm willing to accept that I overlooked something and I missed something. But I also missed the opportunity to resolve the issue and ask my own buyer to revise the feedback because eBay blocked their message because they said something that eBay didn't like about them, a negative thing about eBay from a buyer that was not happy that they felt pushed into leaving feedback because eBay must have been sending them reminders constantly to keep leaving this feedback, which was obviously making them feel harassed. As you can hear, I'm frustrated because I just feel like that's a letdown from eBay. Like, don't be like telling us all that it's buyer's opinion and then not letting our buyers have opinion if it's based around eBay. It's all fine for them to have their opinion about us, but not about eBay. Well, eBay, here's my opinion. That sucks. I feel screwed over by that. I feel like eBay has just done the wrong thing by me. Here you are in your messages over the last 2 days telling me to resolve it with my buyer. Telling me to message the buyer and sort this out with my buyer, which I'm trying to do. And because my buyer, as far as I'm concerned, didn't violate any policy. They didn't say anything rude. They didn't swear, nothing. They simply said they were going to leave this feedback. They weren't even going to bother with it, but they felt like they were being pushed by eBay to constantly leave feedback. So that's just the buyer's opinion on a transaction with eBay. I'm frustrated. I feel let down by eBay. I truly feel let down. I feel like, how are we as sellers meant to do our job? How are we meant to resolve this feedback? What a waste of time for everybody. I probably could have resolved this with the buyer. He was generally kind. He was generally coming back at me with, you know, this has happened. I found this flaw in the book, but I'm actually okay with it because it's just a spare copy. And I didn't get the chance. I looked like a rude seller for not replying to my buyer after they made the effort to come back to me and explain the problem. And I didn't get the opportunity to return the message and try and fix this because eBay blocked it. I'm peeved. I'm really peeved. If I'm in the fault for a neutral or a negative feedback, I'm happy to wear that. Like, if I deserve it, I'm happy to wear it. But sometimes we get these feedbacks and we don't know. And if the buyer doesn't actually communicate with us back once we reach out to them, we don't know whether or not this feedback is actually legit, or like, especially when you look at your photos and it looks like they're perfectly, like there's nothing actually wrong with it. So, you know, like, I just want to confirm that if I'm in the wrong, I'm happy to wear a feedback. I really am. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Let me know if this was you, would you be peeved about this? Tell me down in the comments. Am I just overreacting here, or has eBay done the wrong thing?